Well, actually, I have a topic that my friend Jeff asked in a question, and I'm going to give an answer. Because, and I'll try not to put too many, I'm going to honestly be trying not to put too many tangents in this, and I'm not guaranteeing anything, but I'm trying not to put too many tangents in this. He saw this thing called trademarks. This, I have to start here. And so for those of you who watch my older videos, know what this book is. This is the Lego War Saga. And I can't call it the Lego War Saga for reasons that are going to become painfully clear. So, many years ago, we made our movie Lego Wars back in 1980, whatever. And I shipped a copy off to Denmark. I copied a VHS tape and mailed it to Denmark. Not Denmark, Stratford. Let me just be clear. I mailed it to Stratford. Because back in 1980, whatever, the Canadian Lego head office was part of Samsonite, and that's where they were. So Samsonite, look at the boxes, they Samsonite. Anyway, I mailed it there, and I got a letter. Here it is. Here's a letter that I sent to Mr. Chessman, the Vice President of Marketing for Lego, Samsonite Division. And he invited me over, and I told you guys so many times that I got to have a wonderful tour of the Samsonite company in Stratford making Lego, blah, blah, blah. Jack sent a copy of the VHS tape to Denmark on our behalf. Months later, I got a letter in the mail from them. I have official Lego letter here. It's from Lego. And I don't know where the original went, because the original actually was in color. The Lego was in color. I must have gotten rid of that years ago. I probably saved it somewhere else. But I got a letter back from Harriet Lassen, the legal department, saying stop using our trademarks. And I mentioned before, I'm not going to fault them for using their trademarks, because we did have a Commodore 64ized version of the logo and the slogan, "It's a new toy every day," and the 5 bricks clicking into the side, which is what all the Lego commercials were doing back in the day. And the title of the movie is Lego Wars. so again, a bunch of young teenagers don't know corporate law or trademark law. Anyway, so when I did get the tour of Stratford, Jack told me that might be something that they would have an issue with in Denmark, but he wanted to send it anyway. But just so they would have a copy of it. And so when I was leaving, Jack gave me a bag full of swag, which included this book, which is still to this day one of my favorite acquisitions of getting free swag. This book, and I read this thing from cover to cover numerous times, and whatever. And I got this from Stratford, which is kind of cool. It's just a kind of a synopsis of the big book there, how Lego's made and blah blah blah. Really cool. But Jack also sent me home. Let me close this book, the Lego Wars Bible. Jack also sent me home with this thing. And basically, Lego, knowing that their trademark back in the 80s and 70s was going to be impacted by, not necessarily maliciously, although again, I believe the other clone brands are malicious, but that's just my opinion. I'm not a legal expert. But he sent this to me with me when I left Stratford. And basically, it talks about why there are trademarks. It doesn't go into here why Disney's a big, huge jackass company that keeps on extending their trademarks, but nobody else is allowed to extend their trademarks. Like, you cannot make a graphic representation of Mickey Mouse without a licensing fee. To this day, Mickey Mouse was invented back in 1904, or whatever it was, Steamboat Willie, 1920 something. And most companies' trademarks expire, I don't know the exact date, 25, 50, 75 years after it was patented, whatever, trademarked. So most companies like Lego lose their rights to things that they patented or trademarked back in the 40s and 30s. And therefore, vulture companies like Mega Block or whatever they call themselves these days can swoop in and make the same block that Lego used to make or still does make. And they get away with it. But you cannot do that with Disney because Disney will screw the pants off you. But that's a whole other story. So anyway, in this book, it talks about the tradition of trademarks, even back in the ancient Egyptian days. Toolsmiths and bricksmiths used to put their trademark on bricks, so you would know that this brick was made by this guy here, and he has high quality, and people would come and give him business. Whereas if somebody else who was lesser quality put the same stamp on it, he would be mad about that, of course, because then it's going to ruin his reputation. So they go into that. They talk about trademarks, even going, as they say, way back to the ancient Romans, trademarks. And then they go into the legal definition of trademark a little bit. And then they talked about the Lego trademarks. And note this Lego trademark here, like you can't use the old Legos either and get money for it. So this one with the gap between the L and the E, and even the previous one to that. That's why if you don't make money off of it, again, I'm not a legal guy, don't listen to me when it comes to legal advice. And then this is how they look after their trademarks and what the public, like myself, are allowed to do, what they're not allowed to do. And it does go into this, it does say in this book, you can't call them Legos. But watch me call them Legos. They don't like you calling them Legos. I say, let's play with Lego building bricks. Or Lego building bricks have bright colors, or Lego building bricks are well made and simple. More Lego building bricks give you more scope, instead of saying, let's play with Lego, which is my whole life. Lego has bright colors. So anyway, and they say you cannot use their logo without the proper colors and or whatever, also without proper attributions. And so they talk the difference between the trademarks and the company names, blah, blah, blah. Trademarks and copyrights are two different things as well. And then they go a nice little history, which I always liked, the different logos that they had over the years. In conclusion, don't screw around with their trademark. I like this, and I appreciate, I'm going to say this, I've said this before, I appreciate the inordinate amount of effort that Lego puts into protecting the trademark, because they make high quality stuff for generations. I have pieces in here go back to the 50s and 60s. And I still have them. And so I appreciate their effort, and I am not quiet about my belief in the other companies who just couldn't come up with their own crap and had to ride on their coattails. I'm sure obviously they've let it go. I remember back in Lugnet there'd always be a story when Lego was taking somebody else to court. And the people would jump in, the non-lawyers would jump in saying, that's right, or that's wrong, or whatever. My point is I want them to defend their trademark, and they're a huge company, the number one or two toy company in the world, employing lots of people and building high quality products. And yes, they've made mistakes. Nobody's perfect. I'm sure they're still going to make mistakes. But I do appreciate the fact that they do put effort into protecting the trademarks. But on the flip side, and this is where my personal libertarian beliefs come in, and I won't go into my politics, but my personal libertarian, socialist, but privately libertarian. You can't tell me what to say. I'm not getting paid. I'm not screwing you for money, Lego. I am not getting any money from any of this. And I believe I convey a sense of respect and appreciation and love and cherishing of the stuff that you build. It is a fine line for me, and people say I'm moving goalposts or whatever else. My point is, it's not like Kleenex, where everything's a Kleenex now, and that was the point in the trademark book. Whereas if the trademark gets diluted enough, then you can call any plastic building brick Lego from any company in the world. And that's what they don't want. And I wholeheartedly endorse that idea. You don't want that, I don't want that. So I will not have non-Lego in here. And when I say I'm doing a Lego show, I'm doing a show that uses Lego bricks. If I'm doing a Lego layout, it's 100% Lego, blah, blah, blah. But since I was 3 or 4, it's always, let's go play Lego. I'm sorry. You're not, there's nothing the Lego company can say to me, sticking the legal department off of me. 100%, I agree with it. Because we were using their trademark in a movie that we made. Had we done it differently, yeah, the word Lego never would have appeared. Just like the Lego movie, besides it being called the Lego movie and being sponsored by Lego, they don't mention Lego. So, I'm 100% in favor of protecting the trademarks from getting poached, from getting diluted, getting everything else. So, but I know what I'm talking about when I say I'm gonna go play Lego. I'm gonna have a Lego room. I'm gonna have a Lego build. I'm gonna have a Lego show. I'm gonna do something with my Lego collection. I'm not gonna say Lego bricks. I'm not. And when I type it in an email to somebody or in a post to somewhere, I will 50% of the time capitalize the entire word Lego because that's what they want. They mentioned that in this book. You shouldn't use lowercase for the EGO. But I'm sorry, I'm far too lazy of a typer to caps lock everything all the time. And I have some pedantic friends, and I'm not going to fault them, and this is my whole thing. On Lug now, there are huge debates about Lego bricks and capital Lego or small, all that stuff. I remember epic threads on that and Lugnet. And even to this day, when I'm on the TikToks or on the YouTubes or wherever else, and you stumble across a page where somebody who's got thousands of followers and say, hey, I played with my Lego this weekend, and you get the pedantic Lego nerd like me. I'm a Lego nerd, but I'll say you can't say Lego, you have to say Lego bricks, Lego set, Lego whatever. If somebody rich and famous or somebody not rich and famous is just saying I'm playing with my Lego collection or I'm playing with Legos this weekend, that's what they said, and don't bother trying to jump on justifying that aspect of Lego's trademark disputes. A person saying to his friends and family, or even on YouTube, and not getting paid money for it, saying, yeah, I'm gonna play with my Legos this weekend. Good enough for me. They're playing with Legos. Now the one thing I again, this is the wonder that is me, where it's not contradictory in my head, but other people will see it as contradictory or hypocrisy. When I see a lot for sale on the Facebooks or on the Kijijis or wherever else, and I say, hey, a big bin of Legos for sale, and I go there and I'm looking at it, and it's just like, all I see is Mega Block on the top. I go, dude, that's not Legos. Those are not Lego bricks. That's not Lego, and I will sometimes, if I'm in a particularly jaunty mood, George Carlin, look it up. If I'm in a particularly jaunty mood, I will send him a letter saying, dude, that's not Lego. And sometimes they respond in a very, very bad manner, and I just block them or something. Oh, sorry, and whatever. Rarely do they fix it, but whatever. I know I'm going to be putting a box of bricks that are 100% not Lego, not one Lego brick in the entire thing, and I'm going to say non-Lego. This box is non-Lego. It has the other brands in it, the Tycos and the Build-to-Rules or whatever else they are, a lot of Mega Block. I'm going to put a non-Lego box of building brick or something like that. I'm not sure what I'm going to put in my thing yet, but I'm going to specify there's no Lego in this box at all. But I'm 55 years old, and I am, in the personal sense, I'm polite, I'm considerate, I'm appreciative, but do not tell me how to say something or how to write something on my Facebooks or whatever, as long as it's not disingenuous or harmful to somebody else. I don't care. I honestly don't care. And again, I am a massive admirer of the Lego company, as you can tell. I have a whole channel here that 90% of it are Lego movies and uploads from my Lego collection and shows I've done. I like to think I'm a great ambassador, even though, again, they didn't ask me to, and I don't want them to ask me to. They leave me alone, which perfect. But I I am of the opinion that I think I'm a value added. I think most of us, I think 99% of us fans are a value added service for them to sell their product. And overall, I think they don't care if we say Lego and Legos, even though it says right in here, don't do that. No, I'm lazy. I'm a lazy talker. So I'm not going to say, I'm going to build stuff with my Lego bricks. My Lego bricks are very colorful. I ain't going to do that. I ain't going to do that. I was an English major once. I am going to say, and I'm going to treat the company with respect. I'm going to treat the product they make with respect. I'm going to treat my fellow fans with respect. I'm going to treat everything about this with respect. And my respect is not limited to where they're going with. All of a sudden, the thought was fleeting and flew out of my head. But my appreciation and my respect for the company is very, very high. And I wish them well in their endeavors to produce a fantastic toy building brick. It's been around well before I was born and probably will be around far after I'm gone. So I'm happy for them, and I'm going to encourage other people to buy Lego with my shows and my chats and the way I help people, I like to think, even here on the YouTubes. To generate enthusiasm for the product, even though again they never asked me to keep on doing this because I love Lego. I really do, and I've mentioned it numerous times now that I actually love Lego. It is a fantastic hobby. It's not my only hobby. I have a few more hobbies in this, but one of my major hobbies my entire life has been building and creating and having fun with Lego. And I'm going to keep on doing that. And so I occasionally, because I keep on stumbling across this thing when I'm cleaning the room or whatever, and I'll read the whole thing again. There's a lot of great information in here, and there's a lot of really cool things in here. And therefore, I will not, disparage or in any way bring a negative light onto their company. I'm not going to. Again, we can get into the idea about Bonctron and how some people thought that was inappropriate. That to me is not inappropriate. It's what some fans wanted to do, and I support that. Some adult fans made it adult. Sorry, there was the Brick Testament that, depending on who you're talking to, was either one of the best things that happened to Christianity or whatever, and some people thought it was like the worst thing that happened, and it was very, very, very I forget the word now because I used to whatever. For crying out loud, forget the word. But some people were not appreciative of the Brick Testament. I thought it was very well done. And back then I was going to Christian University. So it's like, and I love the Brick Testament, and I know who made it. Never met him in personal life, but I talked to him a lot on Lugnet and blah, blah, blah. So, over the history of the Lego company, there's been ups and downs, and people who've made names for themselves with the product, and people who might have taken things too far, and there are other pertinent issues that I don't even have to go into right now. But in the end, they're still here. They're making a ton of cash. Some of it for me. Some of it from you, and so I am going to protect their trademark in every single way that I possibly can, except for the stuff I don't personally agree with, and they can send another letter from the legal company after me if they so desire. I mean, they could take down my YouTube channel. I mean, there's a million YouTube channels out there saying exactly the same thing I am, and I don't think they are in the business to, because again, even a letter from a Harriet was not over the top, authoritarian. You must stop doing this stuff. It was, guy, this is our trademark, and you have to respect our trademark. And so I did not fault the Lego company at all for sending me that letter. I actually appreciated that, and we never sold the movie. And it was like years ago, and so If I do it again, absolutely, I would not use their name, and I would follow the rules in here if I'm making something for public consumption. But I don't, so I don't care. So, anywho, that's what this is. So it starts off with this brick that I think there's a little note here: impression of stamp Q. Volusius, Euthycles, owner of a Roman brick field about AD 100, reproduced with kind permission of the National Museum, Copenhagen. So this is a Roman brick from 100 AD with a trademark on it. I don't think they called them back then, but that's what it is. And then in the back they have a red brick, a Lego brick from, I would say, 1984. This is when this brochure came out. And I had to tour back. We made the movie in 84, and I had to tour, I think, in 85 or 86. I had my license. I would have been 18 in 85. Yeah, I would have been 18, so that's probably when I went out there. It could have been late 84, too, because there was still snow on the ground. I don't know if it was, in my head, I don't remember if it was like late fall or early spring that I drove out to Stratford. It might have been March. But I did drive out there, and let me see if there's anything in here that's remotely interesting that I can say in this video. Always distinguish the trademark in relation to the other words in a sentence. That's the purpose of the trademark. The trademarks of the Lego group must always be written in capital letters. See, that's why you have to write Lego with all capital letters. And again, the pedantic fans out there insist that other people do so. Again, I do it half the time. So, our trademarks must never be joined to other words, neither as one word or by means of a hyphen. So that means that you can't use Lego toys, Fabuland figures. It has to be Lego toys, Fabuland figures with a space, with a little R and stuff like that, the trademark logo. Where is it? Always use the trademark as an uninflected adjective. I used to be an English major. Uninflected adjective. The trademark must always be used as an uninflected adjective followed by a descriptive noun. In other words, the trademark should never be used as its own. That's basically where we change it. I'm going to go play Lego. That's the noun now. The Lego is the noun. No, the bricks are the noun. That's why you have to say, I'm going to go play with Lego bricks. The adjective is Lego. The company name's Lego. Again, separate those two. But anyway, always adhere strictly to the graphic design of the trademark. So yeah, you can't, this is the colorized version of red, yellow, black, and white, and this is the black and white version, black, white, and some gray. No, just black and white. There's no grayscale in there. You can't change the logo at all. Again, not faulting them. I did say, and this is one of my things. So even right here it says Interlego A/S, which was the company name back in the 80s. That's who I sent the letter to. So, and so when Harriet responded to me, she said in legalese, dig this up. I should have thought about this originally. This is a very old binder. In legalese, we have received through our Canadian licensee Samsonite a copy of your movie called Lego Wars 1. We appreciate your interest in our product. However, we are sure you will understand that we are always concerned to prevent any activities which might confuse or deceive the public as to the relationship of our company and our licensees with any product, or which may bring our own product into disrepute. Nothing wrong there. Your movie was concerned to us because it contains screen images, script, and related printed matter, which includes a credit attributions to an entity which you have identified as Interlego. It's right in the book, but it doesn't matter. Adopted our slogan, it's a new toy every day, and the adoption of our registered Lego trademark. But 100% shouldn't have done it. But I was 16 when we made it, and I didn't know. So I would have changed that. All of which, in our view, will likely incorrectly imply a connection to our company with your product. Now, jump forward to 5 years ago when they had the logo, but of course they had the rights to do that. We appreciate your attempts to acknowledge our registered trademark rights in Canada. However, these registrations give us the exclusive right to the use of them throughout Canada. That means I can't use them. 100% correct. Um, as we are sure you're aware, our trademarks are for famous ones, blah, blah, blah. Same thing as here, registered. And so she had some stipulations. Some stipulations that we were to adhere to and send back. You do not intend to and will not use this movie or any similar movies which you might make using our product for commercial purposes or public distribution. Now, this is where my libertarian hackles get up in a bunch. Like, if I made a movie and other people had made movies using 100% Lego bricks, like claymation or whatever, and they did back in the day. I remember a few movies back then. Or any similar movies which you might make using our product. I can use your product any way I want to. I bought it. The product is in my house. I'm not going to use it illegally. I am not going to use it maliciously because I'm a fan of the brick and a fan of the company. But to tell me, and this is why I think she overstepped, and I think a lawyer would absolutely refute this, but I'm not a lawyer. You will not use this movie because I'm not, because it had the registered logo and I basically hid it for a long time anyway. Or any similar movie any movie that doesn't have the logo, the trademarks, or anything like that in it, but it still uses Lego bricks, go screw yourself. Sorry, Harriet, I love you, but no. My movie, my effort, and this is the kind of hackles I even had back when I was 16. You acknowledge the exclusive rights of Intralego and its trademarks, Lego, yeah, all that stuff, and will include such acknowledgement at least on the screen image of your movie. We did, but more than that, we shouldn't have had that stuff in the first place, which is 100% correct. We should not have had that in the first place. You claim no rights to these marks by reason of your activities and assigned and released to Intralego any rights in the trademarks which may arise or have arisen by reason of your activities. Now, again, go screw yourself. I love you, but go screw yourself. So, Intralego, Lego company, trademarks, the logo, all that stuff, 100% theirs. If I made something in my movie, if I made of course I use stock sets overall, the Dark Doomobile, but which wasn't. If I made something, and none of us were that good at builders, but if we made something that was really, really cool, and just like when you go to Bricklink before they got bought up by Lego and other companies that are out there now, where people make sets, make mocks and instructions and sell them to people. Anthony Sava, very good friend of mine, makes trains. And he's very, very protective of his instructions. And I'm not faulting him because he wants people to buy them. None of that money, I don't think any of that money, but none of that money should go to Lego. He made that set. He made that mock. He made the instructions. He put the effort. He used your pieces, but he bought them. It's like if I go buy an S-wing hammer and I build a building like an apartment, like a store or whatever, and it makes lots of money. I don't need the S-wing company coming to me and say, well, you use my hammer on building that building, so we get some of this money. Go screw yourself. Like, go screw yourself. There's nothing in the movie was going to be copyrighted that we actually made that wasn't. So again, overstepping, and this is something I usually don't talk about, but. And I forgot about it, so I read it right now. But I remember at 16, I read that, which may arise or have arisen by reason of your activities. Our efforts, our blood, sweat, and tears went into that movie. And yes, it's almost like, it's not the same as, and I can't remember the specific song, but I think it was in 10 Things I Hate About You or whatever, that song that the Stones or whatever, the lawyers sued them, and they lost every single dime they made on that album because the first 15 seconds of that song was basically a lift off of a Rolling Stones song, or I can't remember who. And so, and the Stones lawyer, or the group's lawyer, said basically you made the money off the entire album off that one hit song that was in that one movie, and that first 15 seconds of that song was a complete lift, note for note, from a Stones song. And I get that. I get that specific album, because it had that specific song on it that they lifted the 15 seconds from. That album is now null and void. The other 6 songs on it, had they been released on a separate album without that first song, the Stones shouldn't be able to touch that, because it has nothing to do with them. It has absolutely nothing to do with them. So anything that Jake, Pete, and I came up with in that movie, and again, there was nothing there that was worthy of anything. But if we had come up with something that we built, Has nothing to do with Lego Company, except the fact that they supplied the materials that we used to make that movie. Again, it's like S-Wing coming in and taking money off me for building a house or whatever. And so I have a problem with that. I should have been a lawyer. I personally have a problem with that. And so, and the last one, on this on-screen images, script, and related printed materials of your movie, you will replace the credit attributions to Interlego with a disclaimer of any involvement of the company and its licensees in the movie. So basically, they said in our disclaimer, the following movie, the Lego Company had nothing to do with it. Perfect. I actually had that in there. but again, if I removed all the logos, if I removed their trademarks, if I removed it's a new toy every day, if I removed all that stuff from the movie, they can't touch us. And if we sold it to some self-owned movie theater and they ran movies and sold tickets and we got a percentage of profits, Lego should not be able to and could not be able to touch that. I remember back in the day going to see a compilation of short films made by fans, and this is way back in the early 80s, after Star Wars came out. It was all the fan-made science fiction movie, and Hardware Wars was in there, which is just brilliant. It was a complete parody of Star Wars, cassette tapes falling out of cassette players. That was the pod leaving with R2D2 and C3PO. It was pre-Spaceballs, like way pre-Spaceballs, or even Naked Gun 33 1/3, no, Airplane 33 1/3, whatever. It was a huge parody, but they had like 7 or 8 15-20 minute clips of movies, homemade movies put together. It does probably done a Super 8 film, and I don't know if the Lucasfilms went after these guys. I can't remember that part, but I just loved Hardware Wars. It's brilliant. But in the end, if they came up with something that's can be parenthetically related to the source material, but not a direct lift of the source material, the producers should not be able to touch them of the thing that they were homaging, shall we say. But again, I'm not a lawyer by any stretch. So anyway, Harry signs off. Nice lady, perfect. The rest of us really perfect, except for those 3 points that I had a huge problem with. We have read and agreed to the aforementioned terms, so she wanted us to sign and date this and send it back to her. I, being a non-lawyer, replied to her at 16, 17 years old. 1987, I would have been 20. Oh, crap. Basically, I said, these are the amends that we're going to make. We're never going to sell the movie. We're never going to show the movie. It's on YouTube. I would acknowledge this exclusive trademark. Absolutely. I will put it in the screen image if I made another one with the logo that, of course I wouldn't, because it's the wrong thing to do. Interlego had nothing to do with this. I claim no rights to the Lego design and a new toy every day. Absolutely. And I said, this is me being what I just vented about. However, I will not release the other trademarks that have arisen or will arise from my production, being that they are products of my imagination. And the story itself. These, although not officially trademarked, are invented by me. And that's my whole point. I'm sorry that I might have misled an audience by implying that there was a connection between your company and my movie. I will insert those changes mentioned above as soon as it's technically possible. Of course, we did the whole thing on VHS continuously. So we just, I lost all my copies until my buddy Pete showed up. That's about it. And then that's the letter I sent back to her saying, I agree with 95% of your points, and I'm willing to sign off on that. But that's the rest of the other 2 points. Were they're the game ender there. I'm not going to do it. So anyway, Harriet mailed it back. Oops, where is it? There it is. Dear Mr. Guys, thank you very much for your letter on April 13th. Due to your kind cooperation, this matter may now be concluded. However, before doing so, we would like to send you a copy. Oh, they sent it to me. Harriet sent this to me, not Jackie Chasman. Harriet sent this to me right there. Why we think it's important that we protect our trademarks. 100% agree. 100%. You go protect your trademarks. So I did. Now I forgot about this. I thought Jack gave me all this swag. I forgot that Harriet sent me this in a letter. It must have been a big minute of it. I don't remember that. But anyway, so that was my end of my official dealings with the Lego company, 100%. And I actually never stepped foot or had anything to do with the Lego company official until we were in RTL Toronto, and we got to go tour the Lego head office for Canada, which was much downsized from Stratford. And a little tiny, well, a strip mall or whatever in Buttonville, basically near the 404. And again, I 100%, I love the company. And so my little disparagement earlier was just those specific points that I thought if I was a lawyer, I could actually deal with those properly. But I said, screw it, I'm just a little kid and don't care. So we had a tour after that where I got that big minifig over there. I've showed that before as free swag, and we got a few other things I can't remember now. I think we got the hat, the black hat that only Lego employees of the Lego company should have, as I found out later. And so RTL Toronto got a tour of the Lego office in Buttonville. I think it's Buttonville. And we had a good time there. And basically, they invited us, and this is way back in the day, they invited us to have a pre-release thing. So we got to see some sets that were coming up before anybody else in the public got to see them, which is really, really cool. And I'm going to say it was a beautiful evening at the Lego head office, Canadian head office. And it did remind me of the enthusiasm that I got the first time I got, the only time I got to tour Stratford, back when the Lego company was there. And the enthusiasm and the joy and the wonderful people that I met in Stratford stay with me to this day. The absolute enthusiasm that they're working for the Lego company. And the same thing I got when we went to Buttonville, the enthusiasm that these people had for their product. And they're employees. Like, I mean, I worked for wonderful companies in the past. I really did. But my enthusiasm is based on my paycheck. Well, it's not, but I always sung the praises of Laidlaw when I was there for the longest time. Mostly because I worked with the most wonderful people on the planet, and we were a school bus company, and you gotta love school bus companies for what they do and how the efforts they put into making things are tickety-boo. But the joy and excitement that I felt from the people at Buttonville and from Stratford was contagious. It really was. Like, these people were excited. And we went after hours. Like, I can't remember what night of the week it was. I can't even remember. I don't know if it was a Friday night or a weekend or whatever it was, but it was after hours. And people were there in the office to meet us and greet us and, you know, show us around and talk about what they do in Buttonville, and talk about the history and blah, blah, blah. And you know, this is after hours stuff, right? And they stayed to make us feel comfortable or whatever. So I still appreciate that tour and evening to this day, and the sneak peek that we got on future stuff, and just the enthusiasm that they conveyed to us about what they do. And as I said, it reminded me completely of Stratford, and again, I'll never ever let that slip out of my mind. And so I really, really do appreciate the company. And I really do appreciate what they do and the efforts and the benchmark of quality. And again, we can get into huge debates again on Lugbet when they used to talk about it, like the brittle brown and all the other stuff, where it's not the quality that we normally expect from Lego, which is to me, yes, that's a deficiency, the brittle browns and stuff like that. I don't care because I don't build it brown. But anyway. But I hope for my friends, I hope it's not like I don't care, let's go screw yourself. No, for my friends, I hope they fix it and go on with it. And the blay thing, like when I say I didn't care about the gray to blay and the dark gray to dark blay, it's because it didn't affect me personally, but I knew it was going to affect other people. And yet Lego, whether or not they had a right or wrong, I've heard various conflicting stories about why that happened, but in the end it happened. And in the end, I don't like the tail wagging the dog. I don't like the adult fans demanding Lego, you must change this back, or you must do this for us, or you must whatever. When they discontinued 9-volt rails, it was disappointing for me personally because I like 9-volt rails, but I can see why they did it, and I appreciate them taking a company where they know they're going to do better, in my opinion. And if they don't know better, oh well, they'll come up with something else. Discontinuing monorail. Like, get over it. I say that as a guy who owns a ton of monorails. I don't have to worry about it. But I mentioned this numerous times. That would be great if they brought back monorail. Of course, I would jump on that. But if they don't, it's their company to do as they please. And if they make a misstep, I hope they correct it. I hope they work at it. I don't disparage those stupid doofuses and I say, oh, by the way, guys, you might want to look at this because I think it's a mistake. You might not know about it or whatever. And if they don't fix it, they're not paying me. I'm not their QA. I'm not their quality assurance people. I am a fan, and I'm a fan of legacy stuff overall. So that's what they do now. I just want them to stay in business because I got this thing over here. I want them to keep going. I want them to keep doing what they're doing and improve and so all the power to them. And if they have to send a letter out to some kid every once in a while to say, hey, dude, we don't want the mix-up or the confusion that's added to our brand, our trademarks, our logos, because you're using it in a way that we don't approve of. 100% on board. 100% on board. I wish I knew before we made the movie. I would have changed it. But again, in 1984, who am I sending a letter to figure out, hey, what can I do here? We just made a movie. If I were to make a movie now, 100% different. 100% different. So, your name's not going to be there at all. So, just so you know. And your no trademarks, no nothing, and stuff like that. But what I will not abide with, what I will not stand for, what I will not accept, is for any company to come to a private citizen who invented or created or whatever something, and 100% theirs, and there's no ambiguity. There's no yeah, we did this in 1954 and we shelved it, and you somehow found out about it, and now, but if somebody, no matter who made it or who the company is that produced it, if somebody comes around and comes up with a radical idea that is using the product that they purchased, the company can't come to that and say, because you're using our product, we get to take that back. And this is why I honestly have a problem with Disney. Because they don't own Ariel, they don't own Pinocchio, they don't own the Beauty and the Beast. Those were stories from the 1800s, for crying out loud. These things, Hans Christian Andersen lived a billion years ago. and yet these guys lock it down to the nth degree, where if somebody else comes out with a movie about Pinocchio, Disney gets to sue them. I don't know if they are, but that bothers me immensely, because they didn't even own the original story. They own their iteration of it. But again, how they keep on getting away with extending the trademark expiry date, and yet Lego can't. It boggles my mind. And honestly, I know it's the big business of Disney. But that part, the unfair, and I appreciate Disney. I'm not, Disney always sucks all the time. I grew up in Disney. Any movie I saw before at the age of 10 was Disney. I thought the only movies in the theater were Disney movies, because every time we went to the theater, we saw a Disney movie. We saw Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. We saw Bedknobs and Broomsticks. We saw all the Herbie movies. We saw Dean Jones, the Shaggy DA. We saw all those movies. Every single movie I saw as a child in the theater was a Disney movie, and I swear to anything, to this day, up until 10 years old, I thought the only movies in theaters were Disney movies. I don't read the paper. I don't see what else is playing. I don't see that Texas Chainsaw Massacres in the theater. Why would I care about that, right? And I don't pay attention to commercials back then. So when my friends took me to see Star Wars, it's like, they make movies like this? This isn't a Disney movie. Well, it is now. Which is ironic now, because again, Star Wars was the first non-Disney movie I saw in a theater when I was 10. Oh my goodness, I love that. And then after that, we still watched Disney movies in the theater. And then I think it was 1981. I could be wrong. Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd. And there's swearing, and there's nudity, and there's violence. Not like Star Wars violence. And I'm going, they make movies like this? I had no idea. I honestly had no idea. I grew up in this very small town. So I had no idea. I don't pay attention to stuff I don't have to pay attention to. The term is oblivious overall. And I like being oblivious to stuff that doesn't concern me and I don't care about. It removes a ton of soap operas from my life, a ton of issues and angst and whatever. If something's going on over there that has nothing to do with me and I can't help and I can't whatever, it's over there. You guys want your soap operas? It's over there. You guys want to get involved in this huge petty politics? It's over there. I'm over here. I'm enjoying my life. But it's my libertarian. This is my personal. I didn't go on this topic. I didn't want to go on this tangent again. But it's my personal libertarianism for my private life. You do you. I'll do me. Like, don't read more into that. You do what you want to do. I'm going to do what I want to do. Leave me alone if you're going to be disparaging or negative, and I'll leave you alone. Unless you're hurting something or somebody or killing the world, dumping poison down the wells, whatever, then I'm going to step in. Because again, that's where my social justice comes in. My social justice will show up when you're damaging people and the environment and the society. That's the only time I actually try to get myself involved in anything, is when I believe fundamentally that somebody's doing harm to others, demonstrable harm, malicious demonstrable harm, and so I'll step in. But until then, if this is why I'm not going to go into this really deeply, but this is honestly why I am who I am right now and why I do what I do. I never had a problem, even as a Sunday school going, church going Christian. I never had a problem with gay marriage. I don't care. I'm not gay married. Some gays want to get married. Even when I was a kid, it never bothered me. I was in, okay, so this is going way far outfield. I was in college at Mohawk. And in the late 80s, it still wasn't a pleasant time for gay people in the real world. It was starting to come out on televisions and movies that gay people were neat and fun and jovial. Just the example is Hollywood from over crying out loud, Walk Like Egyptian. Andrew McCarthy and Kim Cattrall. Why am I forgetting this thing? Oh, for Mannequin. I've seen it 1,000 times. So the gay guy, even what's his name in the Revenge of the Nerds movie, but in the real world, they were not getting along. Society was not getting along with them, and it wasn't until a couple of decades go by where now it's accepted. But even back then, for me, it matters not to me at all what you do with your life. If you're in a loving, caring, committed relationship, get married. Have at it. It matters zero to me, even back then. And so when I was in college, there was a couple people, one in the area of us in the IT group that was very closeted, and but for whatever reason, I seem to be an approachable guy. Not that way, but as a friend. And so we had some chats about it and the struggles that he was having and blah, blah, blah. And I hope I gave him consolation and encouragement, not necessarily back in the 80s to become flamboyantly out, because then there's a different world for him. But to come out when he was comfortable coming out, and it's a secret. I never told anybody else. at the time. But it stuck with me because we had these long chats about how he felt dirty for not being who he wanted to be. And so I've never had that problem. I was playing with Lego. I've always been who I wanted to be my entire. I was always fortunate enough to be able to be whoever I thought I was going to be, and comfortable with who I am in this own shell here of mine. And I always try to convey to other people that they can be comfortable with who they are, as long as, again, not hurting anybody else. Then have at it, be who you are. And so I seem to exude this idea that that I'm comfortable with how other people want to conduct their affairs, and again, not to take that to a negative connotation. And so to bring it back to here, socially, justice warrior. Trademarks, protect them. Lego company, honest to goodness, protect them to absolutely, and I'm going to help you protect them. When I see people saying, "Hey, buy these Lego toys, buy these Legos on Kijijis," and it's not Lego, I'm sending them a message. I really am. I am that pedantic guy. That's not Lego. You might want to update your listing. And if they don't, they don't. But I pointed out there because some people don't understand that. And because I don't want Lego to become watered down like Kleenex and aspirin. I want, because now there's no such thing as well, there is a such thing as a Kleenex company, but everything's a Kleenex. They didn't protect their trademark back in whatever, 40s and 50s, excuse me. So, but when it comes to your personal life, have at it. So I'm gonna go play with my Legos now. Anyway, I hope that was a long, drawn out, tangential story about what this thing is. And it does bring up a lot of interesting nuance in how people handle this hobby and their lives, because I am 100% on board with nobody ripping Legos off with their trademarks on paper and in commercials and in movies and whatever else. Although I have been noticing a lot more lately on TV shows and movies that the writing doesn't care about this, the way it's spoken, because you'll hear the kids, they don't say Lego bricks. And if it's just a quick shot, the parents are going up for dinner or whatever it is. I just heard it the other day, and I can't remember what show it was, but it was just on. The kids are going to go play Legos while we go dig a ditch or whatever the parents are going to do. What's little Timmy doing? He's playing with Legos. Playing with the Legos. My whole life, that's all I've heard on TV when it comes up. The sitcoms or whatever show, the kids are playing with Legos. They never say Lego bricks. They never, ever on TV say Lego bricks. And so I think you have to draw if I were the Lego company, not to give them advice or anything, if they say they're playing with Legos, make sure it's actual Lego. So that's where I would draw a line. If I'm going to go play Legos and you look over and it connects, that's when you send the legal department after them, because Connects is not Lego. Mega Block or Mega Constructs, whatever it's called these days, whatever they change their crappy ass name to, is not Lego. So that's where you have to draw a line. But the people saying Legos, I'm sorry, that ship has sailed, in my opinion. And you're not going to put the genie back in the bottle on that one. And this is going back to the epic threads on Lugnet when you have the pedantic, that's Lego bricks, capital Lego. And I remember posting a few times on Lugnet and being far too lazy and even kind of twisting people's noses a little bit. The whole word is small letters, Lego. Because sometimes most people just put the capital L as saying it's the noun, proper noun. But once in a while I'll tweak things. Small letter L, Lego. Ah! It's like, oh, I can't go back in that thread. Hide from that one. So, anyway, it's a long drawn out video about trademarks and the difference between what you do with your personal life and what should be done in a societal, shared public sense. And I'm 100% on board with them taking care of the public sense. When it's used improperly or maliciously or badly, in documentation literature or on television where money is being transferred to people. But on a personal thing, if I'm using something that I bought and I paid for and it's in my house and I come up with something that's going to make that, what happens if I, not this video, straight up this video, what happens if I make one of my movies of the layout and I make a story behind it, and it has nothing to do with, no, the word Lego's never used, and the whole story is, or a picture book or whatever, and I publish it, Lego, go screw yourself. Straight up. This thing's behind. So if I come up with a picture book, and I've been thinking about it, they come up with a storyboard and making a picture book, because I published another book that we won't even talk about right now. But if I make a picture book, because I know how to do it now, and I have a nice story, a nice science fiction story that doesn't have anything to do with the Lego movie or Space 1999 or Star Trek, although it's set in the science fiction universe, obviously, but there's a million science fiction things out there. And I sell 15 copies and I make $40. You can't come knocking. Harriet, I mean, I hope she's, doing well, although I don't know how old she would be right now. She was nice enough to mail me, and she says it was closed. But she or whoever's there now can't come to me and say, you used our product, we're going to steal your trademarks. We're going to steal your building. It is now trademarked as a Lego entity. No, absolutely not. So, and I will fight that. And again, I don't have the money that Lego has, whatever. But and I don't think, because there's a million people out there right now on the TikToks and on the YouTubes that have thousands and thousands of followers who they have the subscriber, they have the silver YouTube button, and they're getting paid to do product placement, basically. Lego sends people sets for unveiling and stuff like that, and for reviews and stuff like that. They're getting paid in swag. They're getting paid in, I don't know if they're getting financial compensation. I don't care. I don't know. But they're doing that, and these people are doing this. And they're influencers. I actually have a friend who's an influencer, not for Lego, but for other things, and she's doing a fantastic job. And she's making some, some stuff. She's getting a lot of free stuff too, and I'm so happy for her because she's an influencer. I never aspired to be one, and nor could I ever be one, because who's listening to me? but it's just not who I am. But I am having fun with this, and if I decide to publish a picture book of adventures on the space station, this Cassiopeia Sierra Luna base, which is again a thought of mine. It gets a high quality camera and take some really high quality pictures and make a storyboard, a comic book with pictures instead of like drawings. That's mine. Sorry, you can't have it. You can't have it. You can have your logos, you can have your trademarks, you can have all of it, and I 100% will give. Well, I don't have to give it to you. It's yours. As I said, I never accepted it. I didn't mean to accept it or imply acceptance in the movie that we made years ago. But anything that I created and anything that anybody else has created out there is theirs. It doesn't matter the medium that they used. It's like a famous painter making a painting on a canvas, and the guy who supplied him the paint color says, "Give me some of that money." No, let's go screw yourself. Yeah, I'm done. I've talked about this ad infinitum, and ad nauseum now. So I don't know if I pissed off some people. If I did, I'm sorry. I do have my beliefs as to where the line is between what I'm absolutely 100% willing to do for the Lego company and what I'm going to stand against for my own personal reasons. And those are mine and mine alone. I remember, again, back in LoveNet, they used to have these wonderful conversations about it. I've never been on the side of every single jot and tittle in this brochure, which we talked about a lot, not necessarily from this brochure, but I'm sure other people on LoveNet had this one, and we're quoting it. I don't believe every single jot and tittle in here is right, but 95% of it is right, and I support that part to the nth degree. So trademark right there. knock yourself out. I'm going to support you as I can. I'm going to be a good ambassador for your product. I hope I am. If I cross the line, let me know. But in the end, you keep doing what you're doing, because overall, my 55 years says you haven't, even with those 3 extra lines in that letter from Harriet, you've never disappointed me. I won't mention the mid-90s. You still never disappoint you, because you made it through it. You made it through that, and you saw, again, it's 1 hour. You saw what you saw what was wrong, and you went to fix it. And you came up with a couple fantastic knocked. You're bottom of the 9th, 2 outs, 2 strikes, and you knocked it out of the park. You got a grand slam in the early 2000s with everything you guys did. So I have faith in you, but please have faith in your fans. I think you do overall. Lego Company, you have a lot of faith in your fans, and you have a lot of respect for your fans that I don't see in other companies. That respect came out a lot in the RCX when you let it be freeware, basically, and you allowed people to hack the brick. That was brilliant in so many ways. Don't go back to regressive politics where you have to micromanage your ownership of literally everything. Take ownership of what you have to, and make sure you protect your trademarks and your copyrights and all that stuff. But the minutiae of other things, well, you guys make the right decisions. So anyway, that's it. That's all. If you want, I put this on my Flickr channel. I think I took pictures of this every page and I put them on my Flickr channel because somebody asked about it years ago. So check out my Flickr channel. Maybe it's there. I don't know. So after a whole hour and me wasting your time, and I do apologize for that because it was supposed to be a quick thing about the trademarks, but a lot of tangents came in there. I do apologize. That's it. That's all. I am going to go to bed now. I want everybody out there to stay safe. Take care. Be kind to your neighbors that deserve it. And again, I'm not going to mention my book. Take care of yourself first. Be kind to yourself. Let yourself up off the carpet. If you're in the doldrums, or if you're in a bad state, forgive yourself first. It's very difficult for people to forgive others when they're not forgiving themselves. And know that there is absolutely nothing that any of you out there have ever done to anybody or yourself that has been more reprehensible than what anybody else can think of. Let yourself up off the carpet. It's the only way to begin the healing. If you find yourself in a spot where your anxiety or your concern or your stress or whatever, most of that's coming from internal. Let it go. It's like I'm Penny now with a broken arm. Let it go. Believe in yourself, honestly. I've had my ups and downs my entire life. Depression runs in the family. Overall, now in my mid-20s, I started realizing that, and I started taking steps to, when I felt it coming on, to prevent it from overtaking and bringing me down to a very, very deep well, by doing stuff that, like, sometimes there's a struggle to be in here, and it's like every time I put a piece together, it's like an ice pick in my head, because I feel like I shouldn't be in here, because I should be wallowing somewhere, but I like to think that my intellect overrides that emotional downward spiral. Fake it till you make it. So force yourself, not necessarily to be happy, but to do things that make you happy. And honestly, from my experience, it does eventually get there. So anyway, so take care of yourself first. Numero uno, most important idea. Other than that, it's late. I'm going to go to bed, and then we're an hour and 4 minutes into this, so I think you guys serve a break. I'm going to wrap this up now. Everybody stay safe, take care, and I'll talk to you soon.